Please take a moment to contemplate the gravity of the following sentence, my darling kid. My sweetheart, you have left me dumbfounded. Do you understand the relevance of this? I am the one who can see the beginning and end of everything, who created the mountains and commanded the seas, and who knows every thought before it is spoken. Last season, your glance moved me so deeply that you have no idea how much it affected me. The enemy attempted to undermine you, not because of your perfection or absence of flaws, but because of the facts they learned about you. Please refrain from scrolling. Please do not delay. It is critical that the truth be revealed at this time. If you rush through this moment, you risk missing out on the information that heaven has for you. This is not enjoyable. This isn't an error. This isn't just another message. This is a heavenly interruption of your goals. I intended to use this as a conclusion. I purposely directed your steps to this area. I purposefully let your eyes to stay on this moment. A fascinating discovery has been made about you in the spiritual realm. Heaven was keeping an eye on your pulse, despite the fact that you were obsessed with ensuring your survival and making it through the day. Angels watched as you persevered. The enemies kept a close eye on you and plotted your ruin, yet the contents of your body shocked even those who questioned your innocence. You were chosen to receive this knowledge, despite the fact that 99% of people will never hear it. Not because you are better than others or because you completed all tasks correctly. It is because your heart has proved the ability to receive revelation without fear or conceit. There are many people who want the truth, but few are capable of embracing it. Many people want to be selected, yet few are willing to go through the tough selection procedure. You persisted. You are not representative of the majority of people. You are not an unfamiliar person. Your arrival on this planet was not accidental. I imbued you with an impervious power from the moment you were conceived. There is material within you that you may not fully comprehend. You have a surprising level of resilience. No, that resistance was not stubborn. It was a part of you that refused to break when life pushed you too hard. I placed strength in that location long before you were born. This moment was precisely planned. I knew there would be a time when I'd tell you the truth before your first breath, mistake, or disappointment. I predicted that you would ultimately question your meaning, profession, and worth. I was also aware that I would eventually divulge the information I had been withholding about you. If you ignore this, heaven may take longer to disclose your true identity. I am not making a threat. I'd want to extend an invitation to you. Please keep a forward stance. Do not reject this as an emotion. Do not assume that it is a coincidence. You desire that I clarify. You request that I show your true self. I'll now respond. I will notify you of the information that has been discovered about you as well as the ramifications of this discovery at this time. Initially, you must silence the voice that says this can't be about you. This is about you. Yes, you who nearly gave up but eventually continued, who cried in secret but remained nice to others, and who, despite not feeling validated, chose to be honest. You persevered despite your vulnerability. I was unable to convey my feelings since your core remained unbroken in the face of treachery. You did not convert into the person who had caused you anguish, and you did not curse at me when the delay forced you to wait for an inordinate amount of time. Despite the deceptions of loneliness, you have not completely abandoned the concept of hopelessness. Despite the fact that you were nearly broken and your faith seemed fragile at night, a force within you kept drawing you back to me. I was attentively examining your heart while you thought no one was looking, despite your belief that you were barely making it. Heaven was observing how hard you were working. The discovery I discovered was unusual. It was unusual, yet it was not flawless or perfect. I discovered loyalty once convenience was removed. I discovered a faith that was ephemeral yet unwavering. I learned to be modest at a moment when I could have felt quite proud. Despite your injuries, I saw sympathy in you, which is a rare event. This is why the vast majority of people will never be exposed to this information. Many people give up because of pain. Many people grow irritated when they are put to the test, and when there is too much silence, a large number of people leave. However, you did not really leave. You were under the assumption that your little actions were meaningless. You had the notion that no one could notice your calm acquiescence. You believed that keeping calm in the face of a strong want to respond demonstrated fragility. It was difficult, though, and it affected you. I stand proudly in faith. It was an indication that something deeper was developing within you. You are not representative of the majority of people. You have spiritual weight if you assert every assurance he has made about your life. There is an activity you have yet to acknowledge. The enemy was aware of it before your discovery. This explains why the attacks looked to be targeted at certain persons. This is why the pressure was so severe. This is why despondency tried to cover you like a thick cloud. He wanted you to forget your identity before coming to the understanding, but the knowledge I've implanted in you is resilient to hardship. You cannot erase the profound image I have made on your soul due to disappointment. This past season, it was revealed that you have the stamina to handle greater obligations. You have a contrite temperament and are capable of taking blessings. Your depth has the potential to produce a revelation. The truth must be exposed soon, as it is critical that you are aware of your identity ahead of the following season. You cannot advance if you believe you are insignificant. If you believe you are insignificant, you will be unable to convey the information I am about to share. Please do not delay. Avoid scrolling away from the call. There is no need to disguise one's identity. The objective of this reality is not to boost your self-esteem. It is intended to boost your confidence in me. Even I was speechless by your acts, my child. You successfully navigated the situation that was intended to silence you, thanks to your devoted effort rather than your performance. The events you had were designed to highlight your weakness. Nevertheless, instead of falling completely, you grew stronger roots. Next, I'll reveal knowledge that will change your perspective on the past, present, and future. The truth about you can no longer be hidden. Once you've gained this understanding, your outlook on yourself will be eternally changed. My beloved child, I will now reveal the information found about you in the unseen realm while you were remaining calm and going about your everyday activities during this season. Your heart was under heaven's careful sight. Your heart, the most profound aspect of yourself that you thought no one could see, is not defined by your achievement, public strength, or appearance. When everything else was silent, I looked into your heart. When my prayers did not seem to be answered, I looked into it. I contemplated the case where those you trusted deceived you. I looked past your surface reactions to discover your actual emotions, and the revelation that followed left heaven shaking. You believed you were on the verge of triumph. You saw yourself as weak. Heaven detected something else while attentively inspecting you, contrary to your idea that your tears indicated weakness. You possessed a calm strength that couldn't be broken. It wasn't noisy or proud. Your core did not disintegrate as the pressure rose. It stretched. It shook somewhat but did not totally shatter. Despite your doubt, you kept whispering my name. You still looked for me despite the fact that you thought I had abandoned you. Your perseverance exposed a unique side of yourself. Loyalty under hardship caught the adversary off guard. He had anticipated that you would leave immediately. He knew that your sorrow would turn to wrath. He believed that your confusion would lead to insurrection. In contrast, you tolerated your discomfort by remaining attached to me. He was surprised by that. He studied your weaknesses and determined that you would be unable to recover if you fell too far. However, you didn't. You are ignorant of the level to which your actions are being observed. Every situation in which you chose to remain calm rather than outraged was essential. Every time you chose patience over rage, it made a tremendous difference. Your decision to emphasize honesty over compromise was significant each time. These were hardly minor instances, even if it would have been easier to accept. During difficult times, they exhibited your deep spirituality. Your faith was demonstrated. Prior to this season, you thought your faith was not particularly strong because of the emotional impact it had on you. However, trust is not determined by one's feelings. Rather, it is measured by how long one can retain it in the face of tremors. Despite the lack of pleasure and comfort, your faith remained strong. Faith that was in turmoil remained faith. You persisted in your prayers despite the delay in reply. Despite the lack of meaningful evidence, you kept your trust. You maintained your optimism despite the obvious danger of doing so. That revealed your actual emotions. Genuine faith differs from performance faith or religion. You wept on several evenings, which made you feel vulnerable. Nonetheless, paradise does not notice weakness. Individuals surrendered before heaven. Your exertions caused you to feel exhausted at times. Heaven did not see any individual's failure. Heaven noticed your perseverance. You occasionally inquired about my thoughts, but you never cursed me during the process. The connection was not disturbed. Despite the obstacles, you chose to remain. My dear child, your perseverance forced heaven to move. This is not a fake. People in the invisible world took notice when you remained devoted, even under the most difficult situations. Your spirit was honored when you refused to give up completely. You compared yourself to others who looked to be more confident, outspoken, and noisy. You thought you were lagging. You felt vulnerable as a result of your severe fall. You could see the magnitude of your growth from the outside, but not from the inside. Initially, the growth can be difficult to detect because the fruit does not appear in the light until the roots have grown. Your roots were especially strengthened during the most difficult times. You learned to rely on me instead of on applause. You developed the skill to seek my advice rather than approval from others. You learned to withstand discomfort without instantly rising. That is the process of spiritual maturation, which was quietly building within you. Because the pain was so terrible, you assumed you were frail. Nonetheless, being sensitive does not imply weakness. It has profundity. It signifies that your heart is still beating as a result of the disappointment you felt. You are open about your beliefs because you face doubt rather than dismiss it. Your tears, rather than your attempts to suppress them, indicate that you were thinking about how to change your conduct. Heaven noticed the strength in your heart, which you mistakenly saw as weakness. It detected loyalty when you assumed they were exhausted. It discovered humility in a situation where arrogance may have developed. It expressed concern for you even after you had been hurt. You are unusual in a spiritual way. Consider that reality for a while. At the moment, I'd like you to participate in an activity that appears simple but has profound spiritual importance. Please supply me with one word in the comments section. Recognizing and internalizing this fact requires only one word. Type amend to show that you agree with this insight, rather than just as a habit. As you write this statement, imagine agreeing with heaven's assertions about your true character. We haven't forgotten about you, and you are not in anguish. Your amen should rise as a sign that you will never again see yourself in the same way. You are extremely unusual in a spiritual environment. You thought you were weak, yet you were exceptional because you persevered without being overly tough, endured anguish without becoming vengeful, and passed the test without completely surrendering your faith. When things are going well, a lot of people may compliment me. While many people can express their thanks when they see blessings, they often remain mute for long periods of time or experience severe disappointment when their comfort levels drop. You did not entirely withdraw or abandon me, even when you took a step back in surprise, as many others do. The enemy saw your grieving and assumed you had lost, but heaven saw your power in tears. The enemies anticipated that the stress would permanently incapacitate you. Rather, the pressure proved your ability. You were unsure how you obtained intelligence. You started to notice minor nuances that you had previously neglected. You improved your ability to detect lies, and you began to rely on my delicate hands rather than the raucous voices around you. This occurred in the background, and you were oblivious of the amount to which your humility grew. This season taught you to be silent, and you realized you could trust me with your identity. This is the essence of strength. You used to feel like you needed to yell to defend yourself. You were unable to see how much your compassion grew as a result of your disability, yet you learned to empathize with people who were going through difficult times. You began to show kindness and stopped being harsh, which is a sign of spiritual growth. Heaven monitored your heart and detected an unexpected phenomenon. You thought you were weak, my beautiful child, but you had a spirit that refused to disconnect, a heart that never gave up, and a soul that never gave up, despite the fact that you did not behave flawlessly or perfectly. Everything has changed dramatically as a result of this realization, as unusual objects are now highly coveted. Rare objects are given additional responsibility and are rigorously protected. The hardship you went through may have strengthened your determination. Despite your doubts, you continued to contact me, which is why I am once again speechless. It's not that I was unaware of your qualities. It was wonderful to see them show under pressure. You are prepared, more intricate than you think, and stronger than you may believe. Given that the truth has been revealed, it is critical that you change your self-image. Do not refer to yourself as weak anymore. Enter this moment with purpose and faith. Surrender your seed and enjoy the blessings that God bestows on you. I will now reveal the reason for the long-standing suppression of this information about you, my beloved child. Because you were wondering why I hadn't contacted you sooner. I did. Why should I allow you to be uncertain? How I kept some disclosures from you as you searched for explanations. You assumed I was reserved due of my lack of proximity. You thought I was dishonest because you weren't good enough to hear the truth. Nevertheless, the truth is more complex and full of compassion. In Revelation, timing is everything. Certain truths are relaxing, while others are overwhelming. It is possible to have revelations that expand the size of objects as well as their strength. If I had told you about this before the shape-stretching and quiet confrontations, it could have added to their sense of pride rather than boosting yours. It has the capacity to intimidate people and draw your focus away from the necessary measures. When I first told you about your uniqueness, the depth of your spirit, and the huge responsibility that your presence carries, you may not have realized the scope of it. It is possible that you tried to complete the task instead of relinquishing it. It's possible that you were looking for recognition rather than personal growth, or that you were trying to protect an identity that you weren't ready to embrace. Even the tiniest acts by my offspring show pride. It does not always roar and occasionally speaks. Praise may build gradually if it is given prematurely. If I had given this information before your development of humility, you might have thought you were superior to others. You may have used comparison to judge yourself instead of compassion, which would have done more harm to your spirit than anything else. However, fear can also stymie growth. If I had revealed this information before you had courage, you could have declined. It is possible that you thought this was not me. Perhaps you felt responsible and were forced to retreat into dread, or you were concerned about your ability to manage the burden I imposed on you. This is why I prepped your emotions first. Always preparation comes before revelation. I was bound to help you achieve stability. It was critical to me that you felt vulnerable and dependent. I had to implant in you a sense of fragility in order to show that my strength comes from me rather than you. The test had to be completed before to exposure. Exposure can be harmful in the absence of a foundation. When pressure is applied to an uncompleted structure, it collapses. I was quietly strengthening your inner fortitude while you were ignorant. I was hoping to sharpen your senses, test your tolerance, and establish a feeling of humility in you. There was a lot of work going on, and you thought the test was all about endurance. However, it was also about your willingness to tell the facts without embellishing it. Accepting approval without arrogance. Ready to react to phone calls without worry. Quietness protected my safety, and this is the message I need from you. I remained mute to preserve my safety. I withheld from officially confirming you right away in order to spare you from external pressure that you were not ready to face. I avoided diverting your focus by not providing all material at once. If I withheld certain information from you, it was to aid your personal development. At times, you felt overlooked, yet you were actually growing in secret. Silence promotes higher growth than applause. I waited because you were not ready to hear this truth previously, not because you were unworthy, but because you were unprepared. It is vital to be mature in order to communicate revelation. Stability is required to sustain one's identity, yet humility is required to pursue a calling. Observe how revelation affects one's attitude and actions. As one understands their identity, their standards rise. As you get a better awareness of responsibility, it becomes more difficult for you to compromise. If the transition occurred too soon and your character was unprepared for it, it could have been overwhelming. Before understanding capacity, one had to experience the restrictions of being limited, as well as being delayed in order to appreciate timing. To understand strength, weakness had to be experienced first. This process was planned. Prior to disclosing your genuine identity, I had to delete certain details. I was forced to stop relying on validation. I was forced to quit the practice of asking approval before implementing orders. I felt forced to eliminate certain attachments that would have slowed your progress after you had achieved it. Given that I've told you the truth, you may have tried to prove it rather than experiencing it. It's possible you tried to persuade people rather than just entering. It's possible that you've turned your identity into a spectacle, which was not my intention. I'm not extremely vocal about my identity, yet it remains consistent. It is unnecessary to continually defend or affirm it. It was required for your heart to be at peace in order for this truth to be shown to you without change. To manage it without feeling proud, a soft demeanor was required. It was required to have a strong mind in order to accept it without anxiety. I waited. I did nothing as you cried. I waited while you were hesitant. I witnessed you having a violent altercation. I was attentive, not disinterested. I was waiting for the moment when your humility and fortitude would be in sync, when your reliance on me would outweigh your craving for attention, and your faith would be strong enough to allow you to accept responsibility. The moment has arrived. You are not the person you were at the start of the season. You are less likely to react and have a higher sense of stability. The distinction is evident. You are aware that you need my help more than ever. Because of that maturity, the truth can be revealed without fear of harm. The silence protected you from being exposed prematurely. Delays stopped you from reaching an immature level. Hidden seasons protected you from weak foundations. My beloved child, that revelation is not concealed to damage you. Now is the time to fortify yourself. God's timing is beautiful. The slow dissemination of information is not without wisdom. You would not have been able to appreciate the journey if I had given you all of the facts at once. You could have questioned my trustworthiness when things got rough if I had revealed your identity to everyone before the test. You've been through a lot, including wrestling and growing up, and you can now understand the truth and be positive that it's correct. I refrained from providing this information earlier due to your lack of preparedness. However, you are now ready. You are now held back by your meekness. Currently, your endurance is beneficial. Your sagacity has secured your salvation. You are currently sustained by your faith. This fact will not ease your pain. It will confine you. It will not be unduly burdensome to you, and it will restore your balance. Absence was not attributed to the absence of noise, it was in the process of being ready. Delay did not indicate rejection. It was done to ensure safety. Waiting was not punishment. It was a matter of position. Finally, the curtain is raised, allowing your heart to process the information offered. This message is nearing a major milestone. Something requires your full attention. There is no more quiet regarding your presence. The disguise season is performing its intended role. Additionally, I need your immediate attention to the current situation. You should write a comment, "I am prepared." Not when you think you're ready, when everything is in place. No, you are in your current condition. I'm prepared to write. This is your promise to heaven that you will no longer hide your genuine identity. My dearest child, you must now grasp a phenomenon that has been occurring beneath the surface during your silent season. The adversary attempted to conceal this knowledge about you. He was aware of the problem before you were. He was conscious of the weight of the substance I'd injected into you. He attempted to change the seeds I had sown because he was unable to remove them. He was unable to hide your identity. As a result, he attempted to convince you that you were someone else. There was a subtle spiritual hostility against you, and it wasn't always thrilling. Loudness was not always present. It occasionally seemed to be a subtle attempt to dissuade. It was sometimes accompanied by thoughts that you could identify with. It occasionally expressed itself through the words of others. However, those errors were an attempt to change your self-perception. The adversary was aware that you would act differently if you actually discovered your identity in me. You would make differing statements. It would stop reducing your size. You would stop expressing regret over your existence. That would make his power over your thoughts less secure, as you would stop accepting anything less than what I want. He worked because he had planned ahead. He spread misconceptions about your worth. He murmured, "Not enough." He told you that your mistakes sculpted your identity until they looked to be irreversible. He continually recreated your failures. He slowed your progress and increased your inadequacies. He wanted you to see nothing special, forceful, or unusual about yourself when you looked in the mirror. You occasionally put your faith in him. At times, I believed his fabrications were louder than mine. You were under the notion that you were falling behind everyone else. You believed that you lacked something that other people have naturally. You believed that your troubles demonstrated that you were not as intelligent, valuable, or desirable as others. It became one of his most useful tools for comparing stuff. He valued people who appeared to be further ahead than you. He let you observe their accomplishments, confidence, and level of recognition. And gradually, the act of comparison began to damage your confidence. You started evaluating yourself based on dates that were not meant for you. You began evaluating your success using rules that were never meant to be applied to your life. Your attention was drawn away from personal development as a result of comparison. As a result, you failed to recognize the scope of your accomplishments. It hampered your capacity to recognize your own strengths. It led you to assume that you were failing because you did not move in the same way as others. However, you were never asked to adopt the identity of another person. You were summoned to become the person I created you to be. The attacks were premeditated. They were the designated victims. You were on the verge of accomplishing a huge goal when you felt discouraged. Doubt grew as you explored further. Temptation got more intense as your discipline strengthened. These patterns were not random. They were designed to raise doubts about your identification prior to your confirmation. You had unusual but plausible thoughts. You are not extraordinary and you will never transcend this. You are too injured. It is too late for you. Those comments were incorrect. They were seedlings planted with the prospect of future growth. However, the adversary did not foresee the following. Your spirit would not fully embrace those fabrications. You were cruel to them. You did, in fact, have these experiences. Nonetheless, you were bothered by your conscience since you were unwilling to fully support their stance. That resistance proved that you remained aware of the truth. The adversary tried to conceal your identity by instilling sentiments of dissatisfaction in you. He attempted to compel you to disclose your story by making you feel anguish. He endeavored to correct your previous blunders. He seemed to feel that the fact that you were having problems meant that he had forgotten about you. The truth endured. Although your spirit fought each fabrication, all those who attempted to weaken your confidence were unsuccessful in some way. You may have had periodic doubts about your own skills, but you did not lose your beliefs completely. Although you may have had qualms about your profession, you did not end your relationship with me. You cannot be removed from what I've inserted. Pay special attention to the contents of that statement. What I have invested in you cannot be taken away through failure, rejection, tardiness, comparison, or spiritual attack. I provide a powerful sense of self. Events are incapable of removing it. It has not been modified by the adversary. It is not destroyed by adverse conditions. While it may exist briefly, it may be hidden behind the weight of sorrow. Nonetheless, it remains intact. The adversary was unable to delete anything, so his only alternative was to try to modify it. You were attacked in order to make you question your identity, but doubt does not erase the truth. Rather, it provides an opportunity for you to recover it. You had a sense of being drawn back to hope. I was that pull even when you were at your weakest. In truth, I was able to keep my grip despite the intensity of the pull. You almost bought the idea that you were ordinary in a negative way, with nothing remarkable or significant to offer at times. However, when you grew accustomed to that concept, I elicited a different emotion. In a faint murmur, I told you that you are more than you appear to be. The enemy intended that you forget your strength. He wished for you to reflect on your exhaustion. He wanted you to see each delay as an excuse not to join. Nonetheless, design is unaffected by waiting. He tried to hide the reality by feeling embarrassed, but pressure did not deter the goal. Shame for previous decisions and blunders. Shame on you for your vulnerabilities. Shame tries to hide your actual character. Shame strives to keep you from being watched. Shame tries to hinder you from recognizing the truth. However, I did not compel you to live in shame. Instead, I wanted you to be able to walk freely. Shame may have arrived at your doorway, but it did not dominate your life. Despite all attempts to discredit it, the truth stood firm. I believe someone is reading this right now. You've been through a lot, including situations that could have killed others. Nonetheless, you remain steadfast, believe, and move forward. Right now, I'd like you to celebrate your success. I survived in the comments, not out of pride, but because they are good, as your proof type suggests. It is not meant to boast, but rather to show that God has been on your side. Even if you are unaware of your identify, typing those words is more than just a comment. Even when you were vulnerable, you retained a certain steadfastness and robustness. Even if you didn't feel noticed, there was something significant. I implanted the thing into you. The opposition is unable to produce any goods. He can only bend. He cannot change the content of my writing. He can only try to deflect your attention. Additionally, there is the influence of distraction, which is temporary. You are not the lie that was told about you. You are not concerned about your feelings, and you are not the comparison that seeks to minimize your size. What I've implanted in you is irreversible. It could have been verified or questioned. Approach this situation with a strategy and faith. Giving can help you realize the potential that God has already built for your life. The anointing is being triggered in your daily life. The Bible states that if you give, you will get. Furthermore, sharing your generosity can lead to greater personal success. When you encounter fear, you will stop negotiating. You will no longer be in a condition of uncertainty and will stop criticizing yourself. The transition has a tremendous effect on everything. Understand this completely, my precious child. Opposition is typically a sign of great worth because it signifies the power of the attack and the importance of the object you are carrying. The strain you felt wasn't just physical, it was also related to your potential. Although I suppressed it, the truth remained, waiting for the right opportunity to surface. It is now time to recognize that you were never taken away, disregarded, or brought to your lowest point. What I have implanted in you is permanent. It is alive and present. It is vital that you understand a key concept. Your current state of life is inextricably linked to your ability to hear God's voice. This message may have given the impression that heaven is directly talking with you about your situation. If this is the case, I strongly advise you to take prophetic action immediately. Register for this channel not as an afterthought, but as a proclamation of your commitment to God's prophetic declarations for your life. Each subscription corresponds to your spiritual path. Receiving notifications is like proclaiming to God that I am ready to hear His word. Execute the action instantly. Become sensitive to the message that heaven is sending. It is stronger than any falsehood that tries to undermine it. I must now speak directly and strongly to your spirit, my cherished child, because the message I am going to impart is not lighthearted or to be dismissed. A different procedure was used to choose you. Arrogance and conceit are not what distinguishes you. It is a burden that most people will never have to shoulder. You are not among the 99% who will never receive this message. There are many people who will continue to wander without ever realizing the depths of their being. However, you were chosen to comprehend, and once you have, you must accept responsibility. Mistakenly choosing simplicity of usage does not imply ease. The fact that you were chosen in a unique way does not indicate that I am guaranteeing an easy road. Rather, I am notifying you of a calling that requires maturity. This is why you were tested and enhanced. This is why the stillness that followed the revelation of the truth made you feel stressed. Many people want to be chosen, but few are ready to put themselves through the rigors of selection. Many people want authority without humility or sacrifice. Many people want revelation without being held accountable. Nevertheless, you were created in secrecy because the items you contain are incompatible with an unstable person. Your heart rate altered while you were under stress, and you were not among the 99%. You softened while others became more rigid. Others withdrew, but you continued and persisted. While some chose anger, you struggled but retained a predilection for forgiving. This is an important distinction. That distinction is significant. You have spiritual power hidden within you. Although you are not yet fully aware of its presence, it is progressively expressing itself. This power operates silently. It is not a boast and does not require your attention. Spiritual power preserves a sense of calm in the midst of upheaval and provides peace throughout storms. While you were hidden, that power grew without your knowledge. You worked hard without being recognized, and it affected the environment without any vocalization. You did not need a platform to build on my work. You did not waste the peaceful years. The seasons that were disregarded were not void. Rather, they served as catalysts for establishing your power. As a result, you must change your approach to life in light of this insight. Not arrogantly, but with a calm assurance. It was not raucous, but definite. It did not entail comparing oneself to others, but rather was based on how I had created you. There will be no other road like yours. You were chosen in a unique way. I am currently experiencing the Holy Spirit's call to act as a catalyst for change in the lives of others. Your thoughts are currently focused on someone who requires this information. Their route appears absurd, and they believe no one remembers them. God intends for you to communicate with them. Please share this video quickly rather than later. If you can recall, please send this to the person in question by clicking the share button. When you share, you aren't just sending content. Your time will be different from others, as will your tasks. This is acceptable. That was the anticipated outcome. Comparison will try to reintroduce itself. It will tell you that you are behind schedule, inferior to others, or that you missed an opportunity because you were chosen in a different way. You are not defined by what metrics work for others. In judging you, I used an alternate standard. According to the statistic, you are not now insufficient. You are precisely where you should be. Do not allow the adversary to reintroduce fear after the truth has been disclosed. Following the communication from above, desist from repeating old fabrications. You are unique spiritually, and you were chosen in a variety of ways. And what I have implanted in you is irreversible. You must begin to act as if you are aware of this truth, not with pride, but with calm, not with pride, but with confidence. The remedy is not to exert oneself, but to rest. You have been carrying too much weight for an extended period of time. It has been a long time since you were uninformed of the information you now possess, understand, and are aware of. Your heart betrayed that what you went through was meant to shatter you, and I was helpless to comment. Despite the fact that it would have been easier to leave, you stayed. Despite the apparent impossibility, you advanced, and heaven recognized your efforts. My dearest child, this fact will change your life forever. You are not permitted to mention yourself in the manner you previously did. Please do not claim that you have been forgotten when I recall your name. When you have overcome adversity that most people cannot, avoid referring to yourself as weak. Do not claim to be ordinary when God has designated you as remarkable. Words are powerful. What you say about yourself is important. Oh, it is critical that your words align with the information I have provided. It is spiritually uncommon for me to say this out loud or to myself. I was indeed broken by what was meant to destroy me. Faith was a load I couldn't carry. Despite the impulse to leave, I persisted. Heaven had seen my emotions. Right now, I urge you to take action that will bring God's favor into your life. If you are currently feeling the weight of God's love on your heart, please click the like button. You are not simply executing this action for the sake of making a video. It is a spiritual sign that God is yielding something and you are accepting it. Consider the notion that each time you click the like icon, you are awarding God's favor and signing a contract with heaven. Your acceptance of the blessings He is about to bestow on you reflects your similarity. Do not do it out of habit. Instead, do it today to demonstrate your faith. It is not a reflection of my character. I have not been overlooked, nor am I vulnerable. I was selected in a unique way. Please give yourself some time to consider their words. Allow them to remove the outdated charges. It is time for them to stop spreading lies that have been repeated several times. The adversary was mistaken about your identity. You are precisely how I described you. I have also mentioned that you are unusual. You are faithful, as I already indicated. I have notified you that the hush has ended. You are prepared. The disguise season has served its purpose. You were under the idea that you were falling behind your colleagues. You were under the assumption that you lacked a quality that others possessed naturally. You were under the assumption that your challenges were a reflection of your lower intelligence, value, or desirability in contrast to others. It became one of his most useful tools for comparing products. He admired people who appeared to be more advanced than you. He allowed you to observe their confidence, successes, and level of recognition. The process of comparing gradually eroded your confidence. Your self-assessment was prompted by dates that were not meant for you. You started the process of evaluating your achievement by using rules that were never meant to be applied to your life. Your focus was diverted from personal development as a result of comparison. This resulted in your incapacity to recognize the scope of your accomplishments. It limited your ability to identify your own assets. It led you to believe you were failing because you did not move in the same way as others. Nevertheless, you were never asked to adopt the identity of another person. You were summoned to embody the identity that I created for you. Premeditation was used to develop the attacks. They were the intended victims. You were on the verge of accomplishing a huge goal when you experienced feelings of despondency. Your level of uncertainty grew as you investigated further. The severity of temptation rose as your discipline improved. It is important to note that these patterns were not generated at random. Rather, they were designed to create uncertainty about your identification before you confirmed it. You entertained unusual but realistic ideas. You are not extraordinary, and you will never exceed this. You have been seriously damaged, and it is too late for you. Those statements were incorrect. They were seedlings sown with the prospect of future growth. Nonetheless, the adversary failed to predict the future occurrences. These fabrications would not be fully accepted by your spirit. You were cruel to them. These were, in fact, the sensations you had. However, you were tormented by your conscience because you were unwilling to fully accept their perspective. Your ongoing understanding of the reality was evident in your resistance. The adversary tried to hide your identity by developing sentiments of dissatisfaction in you. He attempted to elicit distress in order to persuade you to relate your story. He made an effort to correct your earlier blunders. He seemed to think that the fact that you were having troubles meant that he had forgotten about you. The reality remained. Despite your spirit's resistance to each fabrication, these persons were eventually ineffective in their attempts to weaken your confidence. Although you may have had periodic doubts about your talents, you did not lose your beliefs completely. Despite any reservations you may have had about your occupation, you did not end our connection. What I've placed cannot be withdrawn from you. Pay close attention to the content of that sentence. Failure, rejection, tardiness, comparison, or spiritual attack cannot undo the investment I've made in you. I provide an extremely potent sense of self. Events cannot eradicate it. The adversary has not made any changes to it. It is not destroyed by harsh environments. Although it may exist briefly, it may be hidden beneath the weight of sorrow. However, it still exists. The enemy was unable to remove any content, so his only alternative was to attempt to change it. You were assaulted in an attempt to make you question your identity. However, uncertainty does not destroy the truth. Rather, it gives you the opportunity to recapture it. You had the impression of being tugged back to hope. That attraction was mine, even when you were most vulnerable. In truth, I was able to keep my grip despite the strength of the draw. At times, you almost succumbed to the idea that you were average in a negative way, with nothing unique to give. Nonetheless, I elicited a specific emotion as you gained accustomed to the concept. I told you, barely audible, that you are more than your appearance. The enemy's goal was to make you forget your strengths. He wished for you to consider your tiredness. He meant for you to see each delay as a reason not to join. Nonetheless, the design is unaffected by the wait duration. He tried to hide the reality by being embarrassed, but the pressure did not deter him from achieving his goal. I regret my earlier decisions and mistakes. Shame on you for being vulnerable. Shame tries to hide your actual character. Shame tries to keep you from being watched. Shame strives to keep you from facing the reality. Nonetheless, I did not force you to live in shame. Instead, I wish that you be able to walk freely. Shame may have arrived at your doorway, but it did not consume your life. Despite numerous attempts to deny it, the reality remained firm. I believe that someone is reading this right now. You have faced countless challenges, including situations that may have resulted in the deaths of others. However, you persist, stick to your convictions, and keep pushing forward. I encourage you to celebrate your accomplishments at this time. My survival in the comments was not owing to pride, but rather to their quality, as your proof type suggests. It is not meant to be a source of pride, but rather to show that God has been by your side. Typing those remarks is more than just a comment, even if you are unaware of your true identity. Despite your weakness, you maintained a level of resilience and consistency. Even if you didn't detect awareness, there was something notable. I inserted the stuff into you. The opposition is unable to manufacture any products. He can only bend, he cannot alter the content of my writing. He can only try to deflect your attention. In addition, there is the transient effect of distraction. You are not the lie that was circulated about you. You are not consumed by your emotions, and you are not the comparison that seeks to decrease your stature. I have implanted something in you that is irreversible. It could have been verified or challenged. Approach the problem with a blend of faith and strategy. Nas. Giving can help you fulfill the possibilities that God has already set for your life. The anointing is being initiated in your daily existence. The Bible states that if someone gives, they will get. Furthermore, the act of transferring your generosity can lead to greater personal success. When you confront fear, you will stop negotiating. You will stop criticizing yourself and be free of uncertainties. Everything is significantly affected by the transformation. My beautiful children fully know this. Opposition is widely regarded as a valuable indicator because it indicates the importance of the object you are carrying as well as the strength of the attack. The anguish you felt was not just physical, it was also related to your potential. Despite my efforts to disguise it, the truth lingered, waiting for the right opportunity to surface. It is now time to admit that you were never taken away, ignored, or pushed to your breaking point. What I've implanted inside you is permanent. It's living and present. It is critical that you understand one essential concept. Your current situation is inextricably tied to your ability to hear God's voice. This message may have given the idea that heaven is communicating directly with you about your situation. If this is the case, I strongly urge you to take prophetic action immediately. Register for this channel as a statement of your commitment to God's prophetic declarations for your life, not as an afterthought. Each subscription represents your spiritual path. Receiving notifications is like proclaiming to God that I am ready to accept His word. His word, execute the action instantly. Become sensitive to the message that heaven is sending. It is more durable than any fabrication attempting to undermine it. I must now confront your soul directly and aggressively, my precious child, because the message I am going to impart is not trivial or to be ignored. You were chosen using an alternative process. You are not defined by conceit or hubris. Fortunately, the majority of people will never have to shoulder this burden. You are not among the 99% who will never receive this message. Many people will continue their wanderings without ever realizing the depths of their being. Nonetheless, you were chosen to understand, and in doing so, you must accept responsibility. Mistakenly choosing simplicity of use does not always imply comfort. The fact that you were chosen in a unique way does not indicate that I am offering an easy trip. Instead, I am notifying you of a calling that requires maturity. This is why you underwent testing and enhancement. This is why you felt anxious during the hush that followed the revelation of the truth. Many people want to be selected, but only a few are willing to go through the tough selection procedure. Numerous people seek leadership without humility or sacrifice. There are many people who want revelation without being held accountable, yet you were made in secrecy because the items you carry are incompatible with an unstable person. While under stress, your heart rate changed, and you were not one of the 99%. You relaxed while others became more stiff. While others withdrew, you persisted. You fought yet maintained a choice for forgiveness, whilst others chose wrath. This is a key distinction. That distinction is really important. Although you are not fully aware of its presence, you have spiritual force that is slowly expressing itself. This power acts silently. It is not intended to be a boast and does not require your attention. In the midst of chaos, spiritual power maintains a sense of calm and provides peace during cyclones. That strength grew without your knowledge while you were hidden. You worked hard without being recognized, and your efforts had an impact on the environment without your knowledge. You did not need a platform to expand on my work. You did not waste the peaceful years. The seasons that were ignored were not void. Rather, they served as catalysts for the construction of your authority. As a result, you are required to adjust your life philosophy in accordance with this realization. It was not arrogant, but rather serenely assured. It was not noisy, but final. It did not involve comparing oneself to others, but rather was based on the way I had created you. Your trip is unprecedented. You were chosen in a way that is completely unique. The Holy Spirit is currently compelling me to serve as a catalyst for change in other people's lives. Currently, your thoughts are aimed towards someone who requires this information. They have the sensation that no one remembers them, and their route appears ludicrous. It is God's wish that you communicate with them. Please release this video immediately rather than postponing it. Please share this with the person in question by clicking the share button if you recall. When you share, you are doing more than just sharing content. Time and responsibilities will differ from those of others. This is permitted. That was the predicted outcome. Comparison will try to resurface. It will tell you that you are behind schedule, inferior to others, or that you missed a chance because you were chosen in a different way. You are not defined by measurements that work for others. I used a different standard to evaluate you. You are not currently insufficient, as the statistic suggests. You are right where you should be. Once the truth has been disclosed, prevent the adversary from reigniting dread. As stated in the previous communication, refrain from repeating obsolete fabrications. You were selected in a variety of ways, and your spirituality is unique. I've ingrained in you an unchangeable fact. You must begin to act as if you're aware of it, not arrogantly but calmly, not proudly but confidently. The remedy is not to exert oneself but to rest. You've been carrying too much weight for a long time. It has been a long time since you were uninformed of the information you now possess, understand, and are aware of. Your heart was betrayed by the awareness that the torture was designed to break you, and I was unable to respond. You chose to stay despite the fact that it would have been easier to leave. You made progress despite the obvious impossibility, and heaven acknowledged your efforts. My dearest kid, this understanding will have long-term consequences for your life. You are not allowed to refer to yourself in the same way that you did before. Please abstain from claiming that you have been forgotten while I can recollect your name. When you have overcome challenges that the majority of people are unable to, avoid using the phrase weak. Do not claim to be ordinary when God has designated you as exceptional. Words are powerful. What you say about yourself is important. It is critical that the information I have provided corresponds with the language you use. This is a spiritually rare statement for me to make, either to myself or others. I was shattered by the very thing that was meant to destroy me. Faith was a burden I couldn't carry. I persisted despite my want to leave. Heaven had witnessed my feelings. At this time, I beg you to take action that will bring the blessings of God into your life. If you are now carrying the burden of God's love in your heart, please click the like button. You are not just doing this for the sake of making a film. It is a spiritual sign that God is giving you something, and you are accepting it. Consider the thought that by clicking the like icon, you are granting God's favor and making a deal with heaven. Your embrace of the blessings He is about to bestow on you demonstrates your commonality. Do not do it out of habit. Instead, do it now to demonstrate your faith. It is not a reflection on my character. I have not been ignored, nor am I vulnerable. I was picked in a unique method. Please give yourself some time to consider their remarks. Allow them to abolish the outmoded charges. It is time for them to stop spreading misleading information that has been repeated multiple times. Your enemy was misinformed about your identity. You are precisely how I described you. Furthermore, I have stated that you are exceptional. As I have indicated, you are reliable. I have notified you that the concealment has been lifted and you are fully prepared. The purpose of the disguise season has been met. Jesus is currently grieving and trying to reach you. This communication is intended only for you. You risk losing him for good if you ignore even a single second. The events that follow in the next 30 minutes will be completely unexpected. My child, my dear, before I say anything else, you must understand that heaven is extremely grieved by the fact that you were so near to relinquishing everything that was meant for your soul. Please open it immediately. Jesus is currently weeping. His voice has been echoing your name over the skies all day. However, an obstacle has kept the sound from reaching you. Archangel Michael was instructed to intervene. I was instructed to reach your heart with my final appeal, since the events that will unfold in the next 30 minutes have never been mentioned. You are not experiencing a mere coincidence. Heaven engineered this precious interruption to ensure that you would eventually get wisdom that no other person has ever had the opportunity to acquire. My child shouldn't be delayed. Failure to comply with this condition will result in the fate that was predetermined for you centuries ago. Heaven speaks softly at times, yet shouts out in deep pain at others. At the present, it is the case. Jesus has been attempting to connect with you, but each time you ignored him, a sacred event was postponed. However, your name is once again being circulated in the heavenly tribunals today. This time, the subject is more than just a message. It refers to a divine reversal. A tragedy began without your knowing. However, this message is critical to its prevention. This is why Jesus is reaching out to you with tears. He is not only attempting to retain your devotion, he is attempting to save your life. He then implores you not to dismiss the information that follows. My beloved child, there is something you must quickly understand. At daybreak, a commotion could be heard in the heavens. It wasn't music. It did not constitute praise. It was the sound of Jesus grieving over you. A sudden sound startled the gates. A sound that caused the other angels to turn their heads and wonder why he was crying, and the response was you. He witnessed the near miss that you experienced last night. He noticed the writing in the shadows, which was done by a hand that was not God's. He was also aware that if you did not read this warning, the darkness would still rule. However, heaven is using these words to intercede. Furthermore, you, my beloved, are the only person capable of acting quickly enough to alter the impending events. And as you acknowledge this supernatural intervention, know that Vess's liking of this video will begin the flow of God's favor in your life. It is a simple activity that aligns you with the bounties of heaven. My child, my adored, the time is ticking, and you are not safe unless you pay close attention. Someone close to you recently smiled at you, but their heart was concealing something heavy. Jesus saw that their intents did not come from above. He sobbed because he knew you still believed in them, and he told me to share this information. Their decision could permanently alter your narrative inside the next 30 minutes. However, if you hold tight to this message and obey every word that heaven delivers to you today, You will not only be protected, but you will also ascend into the marvel that they wanted to destroy. My child, my dear, you must comprehend the gravity of the situation. This is not a message intended for a wider audience. This is the type of message that is only perceived by people who have been chosen for something truly special. Indeed, you are that person. Have you been conscious of this? Heaven is seeking to capture your attention with that divine interruption, the strange silence before the huge upheaval and the pull. However, Jesus is no longer just whispering. His request is sincere. If you ignore this even for a moment, the celebration that was supposed to be joyful may turn into misery. However, I will not allow this to happen to you. I am caught between what is coming and what is rightly yours, my child. My dearest, you are being observed by someone, but not in the way you expect. An influential figure whose name is being whispered in places you are unfamiliar with. They are being influenced to make a decision that affects you. A decision that might either result in a flood of favors or postpone everything. None of them understand that God is hiring them, but Jesus does. That is why he has been weeping. That is why I was dispatched, as your miracle goes beyond ordinary spirituality. It has previously been validated as pecuniary, emotional, and somatic. If there is even a single inaccuracy or omission, the enemy will try to redirect the message. Please refrain from permitting that. Please remain and read every word. My child, the events that follow will be deeply shocking. I understand that you are currently at a vital point, my darling. I wish you saw the same things I do. I see the beginning of something monumental, something that has been waiting for your affirmation for years. However, you had already delayed, and the world diverted your attention just as the message was about to be given. However, this time, Jesus is observing through tears. He is aware of the impending peril, the fight that was meant to destroy you, and the hidden heaven that has recently been revealed to save you. Someone in your circle is ready to make a seemingly innocent gesture, but it is actually a masterfully prepared trick that even your spirit may not notice in time. Jesus is grieving, therefore this message cannot be postponed, and I am here to speak on his behalf. I am here to supervise the upcoming disclosure, my darling, my child. Do you recall the moment when you were on the verge of giving in? Heaven remembers that I was present. I saw you look up at the ceiling, wondering why God had kept you here. Despite the overpowering sense of doom that's surrounding you, you persisted and breathed. You recovered, and that moment was not forgotten. It is a spiritually precious document sealed with heaven's fire that contains not only your name but also the entire list of promises that have been delayed, betrayed, and sabotaged. That event was recorded in heaven's courtroom, and now that same courtroom has revealed something you were never meant to witness until now. Jesus is sad because this is the day on which the final word was supposed to be delivered. However, if you ignore this and depart before the final phrase is spoken, the seal may be reclosed, and no angel will be able to unlock it without a sacrifice. If you are confident that this covenant is for you, and feel this truth profoundly within your soul, please express your agreement in the comments box below. Type Amen and see how the spiritual sphere reacts to your assertion as your voice raises in accordance with heaven's mandate. My child, my darling, my adored. As far as I am aware, a spiritual letter has already been written. Your name was emblazoned in brilliant lettering on it, yet there was something strange about it. The page was saturated with tears. The letter was written by Jesus himself, but his emotions soiled the words as he agonized over the risk of you missing it again. Not because of rebellion or disobedience, but because of how easily this world may distract individuals with divine purpose. You have been assigned a work that requires stillness, clarity, and submission. Jesus is seeking one thing from you right now: Do not walk away, scroll past, or lose sight. The knowledge in the following paragraphs has the ability to keep you from making the biggest mistake of your life. You are on the verge of making a decision without fully understanding the events unfolding behind the scenes. The person you are going to entrust with your heart, my child, my beloved, is not who they appear to be. They have tested your tenderness and appreciated your strength, but their spirits have been stained by envy. They smiled in your presence but silently mumbled lies. Jesus was extremely moved by what he heard since he was aware of the depth of your worry. This person is pleading through this communication despite the fact that you would never suspect him. He is not upset with you. He is protecting you. He is responsible for protecting the treasure that is your spirit. He understands that you deserve genuine healing love, not love that hides weapons beneath deceptive flattery. A divine warning will be sent within the next 30 minutes. If you stay here and read the next revelation, your discernment will be engaged in ways that will take your breath away. However, if you choose to detach, you may not notice the infraction until it's too late. My child, my dear, you were never meant to be ordinary. Thus, the agony you've endured in your life has never been ordinary. This is why your blessings have always been accompanied by a battle. You were chosen in a way that most people don't understand, and it is this divine choosing that makes you a target for unseen warfare. However, heaven is hesitant to watch you fight with one limb bound behind your back. Jesus grieved today not because he doubted you, but because he saw you were still oblivious of the great power you possessed all along. The adversary knows that you will continue to question your worth. He wishes for you to be modest, to apologize for your shine, and to lower your expectations. However, this message marks the beginning of your heavenly awakening. This is the moment that changes everything, and I was deployed to confirm the emotions you've been feeling for weeks. You were never insane, you were never alone, and the marvels that appeared so distant are now approaching you at a divine speed. A holy witness has entered your atmosphere, my darling and dear. A person with extraordinary insight into your fate is going to appear. You are oblivious of their name and look, but heaven is aware of them, and their goal is to unveil what has been hidden. As soon as you finish this message, their spirit will notice it. They will begin to move, and they will find a way to appear in your story within days or perhaps hours. This individual will not arrive with a big noise, religious garb, or titles. They may not even be aware of how God is using them. They will, however, supply something such as an opportunity, a name, or a conversation that will act as the thread for heaven to unravel years of delay in your life. This is the beginning of it all. The signal will be broken if you abandon this message at this point. It's possible that they will never find you in time. Jesus does not want that to happen again. That is why he is crying and why I am still speaking, my beloved, my child. When Jesus says, "Give and heaven will open above you," this is not poetry. Every seed you plant is transformed into oil for your destiny, fire for your calling, and safety for your family. My sweetheart, the moment has come for you. Your purpose has not yet been fulfilled, which is why you are still alive. You've asked yourself, "Why am I still here?" several times. You overcame problems that others were unable to. You retreated from situations that were meant to ruin you. This is not a mere coincidence. That is a covenant. When you thought the end was near, when you thought the torment would consume you, Jesus stood over you weeping. Today, he is crying once more. This is not due to your failure. Rather, it is because you are about to embark on the very thing for which he has been training you, and he is concerned that you do not overlook any details. This is why you are currently viewing this message. This is why you are presently being paused. In this moment, my child, my dear, There is a woman who once smiled at you and called you family while your entire timeline is moving. However, the timeline can only shift completely if you choose to stay and receive everything that paradise is still trying to reveal you. The reason her name is etched in red in the spirit is that she has a secret that has kept something important from entering your life. You have put your faith in her. You have sobbed in her company. Nevertheless, she is withholding knowledge about your identity, which she knows will change your perspective on everything. When Jesus saw how close you were to discovering it, he wept. He grieved because he knew how much you cared and how much betrayal had already broken your heart. I was sent to tell the facts before she can use it against you, but this warning is time-sensitive. You have fewer than 30 minutes till something irreparable is spoken. If you remain in this message, the signals will be shown to you. However, if you leave, heaven will be unable to interfere without your approval. Currently, a door is cracking open, my dear youngster. You thought the door was forever closed. You stopped praying for it and abandoned your dreams, but heaven did not. Jesus continued to murmur your name at the locked entrance. He grieved at that area, and I assure you that if you continue to follow my message, you will receive a knock before the end of the week. You are on the verge of obtaining an answer from someone who previously ignored you, assuming you retain your current status. This message is divinely arranged. A conversation has already begun behind your back, and this time it is not designed to cause you harm. It is meant to be of aid. Do not let past disappointments force you to leave the endeavor before the blessing is fully realized. The people who previously rejected you will be witnesses to the miracle that God is about to do. My child, my darling, my adored. Do you recall when you almost gave up on heaven? I was present. I noticed you staring at the ceiling, wondering why God had kept you here while everything else was falling apart. Nevertheless, you persisted and breathed. You have recovered. That moment was not forgotten. The courtroom in heaven captured that moment, and it has now revealed something that you were never meant to witness until today. It is a spiritual, sacred document sealed with fire from heaven. It includes not only your name, but also a comprehensive list of promises that have been thwarted by delays, duplicity, and sabotage. Jesus is sad because this is the day of our liberation. However, if you fail to follow this procedure and leave before the final phrase is pronounced, the seal may be resealed and no angel will be able to unlock it without a sacrifice. My cherished child, a transformation is approaching your house. You may not be able to feel it yet, but the walls of your home are vibrating with spiritual strain. Someone who died recently prayed for you. A person who still loves you in forever. Their voice has been screaming out to God for your protection, and that prayer is one of the reasons you are receiving this message now. It was not intended for you to witness this at this moment, but heaven intervened to protect your future. Jesus' tears do not indicate fragility. These are cautionary tales. They're divine notifications. The entire kingdom is aware of the Son of God sobbing, and you chosen one are the source of the sound. Please remain. The following paragraphs will provide a more extensive description of what he noticed, and once finished, you will never look at the people in your area the same way again. Behind closed doors, there is a talk about you, my beloved kid. Someone believes they have kept the truth from you, but the curtain has been ripped, their scheme is leaking through the cracks, and I am now shedding light on it. Yesterday, their voices were heard. They muttered something about you with the goal of impeding your favor, but Jesus intervened. He stopped the words from reaching the person who may have hurt you. However, he will refrain from doing so in the future if you choose silence. This message invites you to rise, awaken, and move from a state of delay to one of dominion. You were not created to be manipulated. You were not meant to be tricked. The events of the next 30 minutes will corroborate the warnings your spirit has been delivering for several weeks. Heaven doesn't play games with you, my beloved kid. It's hardly a lyrical event. This is not a symbolic representation. This is a war, a battle for your voice, your joy, and the tranquility you lost because you were too young to protect yourself. Jesus weeps because he sees how drained your heart has become, yet you continue to love and pray. You remain certain that unique faith and love are the reasons he has repeatedly shouted your name. You are currently on the verge of getting access to a world of protection that even certain angels are not permitted to enter without heavenly authorization. However, I again encourage you to pay close attention to this message. If you miss the following wave of words, the opponent will develop a way to pervert the information that will be delivered to you. Your perception of my child dear and the person you previously considered family is incorrect. Their hearts had kept a secret for months, if not years. The object they are carrying was never intended to be used against you, yet they are about to reveal it out of jealousy. They are ignorant that heaven has already discerned their intentions. They are unaware that their every activity has been recorded, which is why this message is so important. Jesus' purpose is not to overwhelm you, but to forewarn you. Their strategy will disintegrate the moment this information is revealed to you. Delay has pursued you like a specter, therefore darkness is seeking to distract you. However, it is no longer the case. This is the point where the boundary is established. Remaining with me and reading will result in you passing the boundary with nothing from their prior world able to accompany you into the blessing. The spiritual realm is not silent in relation to you, my child, my beloved. As you read this, a meeting in heaven is taking place to discuss your name. This is not a metaphor. It is a real gathering. Jesus remains at the center, grieving and pressing his palms together for your benefit. Angels surround him, carrying records of your past, the times you remained devoted, even when it appeared that everything was against you, the times you loved profoundly, but still suffered loss, the nights when your pillow was soaked in tears, which you never showed anybody else. In that celestial courtroom, a declaration was issued that this youngster could not miss again. I was sent as a result of that allegation. The divine clock restarts, pushing your breakthrough further back, which neither Jesus nor heaven desires. I was told to keep you safe from what was arriving from behind and to open your eyes to what was coming from ahead. My child, my loved one, I beseech you to stay. A revelation is on the way from someone you never expected. A person who previously left your life has been summoned back not to stay permanently, but to deliver a final piece of knowledge that will open all doors. They don't understand why they want to speak with you, but the Spirit does, and the timing isn't arbitrary. It's prophetic alignment. Jesus has precisely prepared this encounter to the point where even one missed moment could upset the entire process. This is not paranoia, but spiritual precision. The upcoming discovery will explain why you have been experiencing delays, confusion, and obstruction in many areas of your life. Heaven will release the blessing once it understands what has happened. However, it all starts with this message and your decision to read it in its full. My child, my darling, my adored, the person you've been thinking about while reading this. Indeed, that person is not who you believe they are. There is more to their tale. They have been hiding information from you, not out of malice, but due to concerns about your importance to them. Their quiet has caused you anguish, but it is not an indication of rejection. Fear is the cause. Jesus cried when he saw the breadth of your effect in their absence. He noticed your intense self-blame for events beyond your control. However, I must let you know that their acts were not your fault. You did not love them excessively or deeply. Rather, you gave your soul to someone who was not yet capable of retaining it. As a result, the Holy Spirit is currently confronting them. Heaven is communicating with them in a way that they cannot ignore. Whether or when they return is no longer your concern. Instead, your recuperation begins instantly. This message emphasizes the need of remaining open until the entire truth has been presented. Lord, my child, my beloved, I noticed something unusual early today before coming to speak with you. A scroll was unfurled in heaven with thousands of names written on it, but yours was the only one that was dazzling. I asked why, and it was the only one. This was informed to me since this person maintained their determination. What you endured in quiet was observed, and heaven has recognized your fortitude. The lack of acclaim you experienced is now resonating across eternity, and Jesus stood up specifically for this purpose. He rose and began continuously declaring your name, causing the chains to clatter and shaking everything meant to stop you. The delay has begun to fade, and you are now only a few seconds away from the shift for which you have grieved. However, this moment will end if you allow it to. The Spirit is currently hanging over you, waiting for your complete acceptance to release the power that has been reserved solely for you, my child, my darling. You cannot scroll past fate or skip your resurrection. Please read these words slowly, as I need to notify you of something. You were never forgotten, even for an instant. While you assumed heaven was silent, the angels were still circling your name. Jesus was laying the seeds of answers in soil you couldn't see, and today is the day those seeds sprout. This is why you received this message, why everything else stopped, and why your heart drew you here even if you didn't know why. Heaven had this plan in place before you ever asked. Jesus, who is still sobbing, has been waiting for this very time to remind you that the experiences you have had will not be in vain if you continue to live. The bridge is this message: if you leave, the harvest will be delayed. If you stay, the windows of heaven will open wide and flood your life with the gifts that have always been promised. If you are ready to cross the bridge and collect your crop, please write, "I am prepared to receive," in the remarks box. My child, my dear, I beseech you to reveal your intention not just to me, but also to the angels who are gathering to await your response. Someone is about to say your name in a room you have never been to, and when they do, a big change will occur. This will not be a casual reference, but rather a divine activation. Their words will clear a previously blocked route. This person isn't even sure why they're drawn to you. Nonetheless, their spirit is responding to heaven's call. You will be spiritually aligned when that moment occurs if you continue to engage with this message until the conclusion. You will not miss the invitation or the sign. But if you leave at this point and dismiss the information that has been presented, you will still be chosen. But the opportunity to be selected may be given to someone else. You are on heaven's schedule, and your arrival is swiftly approaching. Please do not overlook it. Jesus grieved as he noticed you're near. He, like me, is conscious of the expectation. That is why I am still here, still speaking and still holding you in this moment of divine exposure, my child, my beloved. Your voice holds great power that exceeds your wildest expectations. The words you express, whether in hushed tones or publicly, have sparked spiritual awakenings. Every furious phrase, every tired confession, and every time you said, "I can't take it anymore," was heard, not judged, and now Jesus is responding with power rather than punishment. You thought you were speaking with yourself, but heaven was recording it. He is giving you a unique opportunity, the ability to undo the words that have hampered your advancement. If you continue to read this message, I will give you the words to say that will demolish the barriers that others have tried to create in your life. However, if you stop now, you will be fighting with weapons that were never intended for the level you are advancing to. This method is critical. It is currently being disclosed. Your final words instill terror in the enemy. My child, my beloved, please stay, speak, and enter the new environment that awaits your voice. A younger member of your family admires you despite their refusal to confess it. This person has been following your journey, witnessing your resilience, and seeing how you have rebounded from what should have broken you. Because of your perseverance, many are regaining confidence in God. Jesus grieved over this, not out of sorrow, but because of the tremendous power of your ripple impact. Your innovation will not benefit you alone. It will alter a generational pattern, but the process remains delicate. It is critical that you do not end this moment. The material you are reading now is spiritual fire that is breaking down obstacles in your lineage that you were previously unaware existed. Your family's name will be rewritten in heaven's record book if you read and follow every word of this message until the end. However, if you walk away or skip, you may fall silent once more, and that stillness is what Jesus mourns for. My child, my darling. My child, my dear, a door is currently creaking open. You thought the door was forever closed. You stopped praying for it and gave up hope. But heaven didn't. Jesus cried in the location where the door was locked while whispering your name. I am telling you that if you stick with this message, you will hear a knock before the end of the week. You are on the verge of obtaining an answer from someone who previously ignored you, assuming you retain your current status. This communication is a divine arrangement. A conversation has already begun behind your back, and this time it is not designed to harm you, but rather to help you. Do not let past setbacks deter you from continuing before the benefit is completely fulfilled. Those who previously rejected you will serve as witnesses to the miracle that God is about to do. This is a prophetic message intended for dissemination. Share it with your network right away to activate the anointing and spread this breakthrough to others in your orbit. My child, my darling. Your name is already associated with a financial breakthrough. I understand that this may seem strange, but heaven's money does not fluctuate in the same way that humanity's does. It stems from heavenly surrender, obedience, and punctuality. As a result of your decision to continue engaging with the message, the Holy Vault has been redirected in your favor. Yes, there is a precise sum that was disputed by two parties, one wanting to transfer it to you and the other wanting to redirect it to someone else. This conflict was resolved today. Jesus cried because he was forced to let you go through a lengthier period of misery than he had wanted. However, the delay has been rectified, and your name is now appearing on documents you were previously ignorant of. Every word you read is a thread that brings the miracle closer, yet it can still vanish if you allow distraction to take your focus away again. The favor you thought you had missed is coming back. Please do not turn your sight. The numbers are on the verge of becoming names. The names will become acts, and the actions will become emancipation. My beloved, my child. Even in the midst of people you felt isolated, this was not a product of your mind, but a supernatural indication. Your removal was not intended to punish you, but to prepare you. Isolation is commonly used as a precursor to elevation. Jesus grieved today because he remembered every time you wanted to express your spirit and were misunderstood. He saw the pain in your eyes when no one else could grasp the load you carried. However, I now see it, and so does heaven. As a result, a new circle is growing around you, a spiritual circle made up of people who understand heaven's language and will celebrate your vocation rather than competing with it. If you continue with this message, I will show you how to recognize them. However, if you ignore this and return to the old cycle, you will become involved with people who were created only to obstruct you. My child, my beloved. Your name is currently surrounded by a sacred aura which I can sense radiating from the Spirit. When Jesus muttered your name into the winds, the angels paused to listen. Do you understand the rarity of that? Do you understand the significance of heaven's little pause to inspect your soul? It indicates that a huge transfer is about to occur. A spiritual inheritance is being triggered, and a gift that has been delayed for years is now hovering over your atmosphere. However, there remains one last impediment: your focus. If you continue to read this message, you will reach the point where the inheritance begins to manifest. However, if you leave at this time, the present will be returned to the vault of heaven, where it will be awaited later. This is more than just a loss of blessing. It represents a whole shift in your timeline. Jesus is sobbing because he does not want you to continue living without realizing the proximity of everything he has promised you, my beloved and child. While you were unconscious last night, something happened in your spirit. A spiritual presence approached your home, but not physically, with the aim of studying your progress toward awakening to your true identity. It hovered near your window, hoping you'd be preoccupied long enough to let it continue hiding in plain sight. However, Jesus witnessed it and mourned. He grieved because he remembered how many times you had trusted people who did not merit your allegiance, and he cried because he knew the presence was not just watching, it was waiting for you to give up. You choose to be resilient today and open your eyes. This message has now become the sword that cuts through that darkness. This instant is your defense. This word is your light. And I assure you that the presence that tried to haunt you will never return to your home, my child, my beloved. A person's heart is breaking because they know they have failed you. They may never say it to your face, and their pride may prevent them from apologizing openly. They have been speaking your name in the spirit, praying that God can yet restore all. Jesus wept over this because he knows how much you gave, loved, and emptied yourself for someone who couldn't repay in the same manner. However, he is currently changing the narrative. You are no longer pleading to be understood. Heaven is rebalancing the energy. The person who hurt you will now bear the entire weight of their loss, while you, if you continue to travel through this heavenly message, will receive something they could never provide: healing, serenity, and a love produced by God himself. Not damaged people, my child, my beloved. My child, my dear, there is a secret going to be disclosed by someone you never expected. A person who previously retreated from your life is being drawn back, not to stay forever, but to deliver one more piece of knowledge that will open all doors. They don't understand why they want to interact with you, but the Spirit does. And it's not a coincidence. It's a prophetic alignment. Jesus has methodically prepared this encounter, and a single missed moment might derail the entire sequence. This is not paranoia. Rather, it is spiritual precision. The upcoming revelation will explain why so many parts of your life have been delayed, puzzled, or hindered. When the circumstances are understood, heaven will allow the blessing to be released. However, it begins with this message and your decision to read it in its entirety, my beloved, my child. The adversary expects you to scroll past this. He bets that you will be too preoccupied, distracted, or tired to read a few more words. If you do read them and reach the next section, he is aware that his hold will be jeopardized. You are ignorant of this, yet a spiritual contract has been executed against you in the past. It was established when you were vulnerable, your heart was overly trusting, and someone spoke curses against your name without your knowledge. Jesus had just torn a copy of the contract in front of the altar in heaven. However, the final version will be active until you answer this word. This is why I was sent, and why he is crying, because the miracle cannot be realized until you discover the truth which is hidden in the next pages of this message. Please don't lose it at this moment, my beloved and child. The gate in heaven bearing your name is a hallowed entryway that leads to everything you have ever felt in your soul, but have yet to see in your hands. I was told to advise you that the gate is currently open, but it will only be open for a few minutes. This is not a symbol. It is spiritual law. Heaven only opens this precise portal when your heart time and obedience are in sync. Jesus is aware of your past sorrow, and he remembers how you sobbed and asked, "Why does it always happen to others but not me?" He listened to your screams and delayed other advantages to create this specific moment. However, if you ignore this for even a moment, the gate will close and this window will not reappear until the next season. By that time, the person who was supposed to bless you may have died. That is not a punishment. It is a warning tale. Please remain with me. Heaven is a place where willing voices are heard, but it is also a place where compassionate hearts thrive. I now approach you with the following words. Each gift you offer is like a stream of living water that pours into the life of someone who needs healing. Give, and you will receive. It is more than just a verse for Jesus. It is a real promise that will shape your future. I'd like to invite you to approach this time with a feeling of purpose, honesty, and hope. A single act of trust will suffice. The monetary contribution you give now is not a donation. Rather, it is an act of spiritual obedience that causes your heavens to open. Let go of your seed and witness what blessings God delivers back into your life. Archangel Michael, my darling, my child has informed me that God is currently attempting to connect with you. This is an important message, and heaven will not wait much longer. Please open it immediately. My child, my dear, your name is written at the heart of a holy event taking place in the spiritual realm right now. The angels have talked, signs have shown, and heaven has attempted to contact you all today. However, this moment is unlike any other. This is not an accident. It is the last attempt before an irrevocable catastrophe occurs. And if you continue to ignore these signs, the chance to receive something great that was meant for you may be given to someone else. Your miracle is standing right outside the door, and the clock is ticking. Please listen to me before you go any farther, my precious kid. This communication was sent from the highest echelons only for you. In heaven, a divine discourse is taking place about your life, future pain, and the coming advent of what you will soon own. However, if you fail to pay attention and let the world's distractions to absorb you, the desired goal may fade away like smoke. As a result, I encourage you to stay, observe, and allow your spirit to be opened, for heaven will not wait another second. The person who tried to stop your miracle, my beloved, my kid, is already being revealed. The person who smiled at you while harboring jealousy in their heart has been disclosed to the council of heaven, and God has decreed that there will be no more delay, sorrow, or hidden bands around your destiny. Finally, the previously suppressed information is ready to be revealed, but this will only happen if you show that your heart is still open to receive it. This is your opportunity. Do not pass it up as if it has no value. This letter is sacred, my beloved and offspring. Please pay great attention. I was assigned to stand next to you tonight. Not just to protect you, but also to supply a spiritual key. Although this key is intangible, accepting it will result in an immediate transformation. You will feel it in your bones, and your sleep will be affected. Your visions will get clearer, and within 48 hours there will be such precise synchrony in your actual world that you will know heaven has spoken. However, this will only happen if you fully embrace the message without hesitancy or compromise, but with trust. Pause immediately, my darling, my child, and take a deep intake. Your life has not been easy. Feel it in your soul. You have goods that you have never disclosed to anyone. You wept quietly, thinking that heaven would hear you even in the quietness. Yes, God heard every sigh and each plea. This is why this message is so urgent. Heaven has already moved and angels have been deployed. The change has already begun. Nevertheless, the continued direction of this narrative is dependent on your trust, openness, and willingness to receive. If you are still present, it means that your soul is ready. Yet you must not ignore the upcoming occurrences. Please let 3 seconds to click the subscribe button. By subscribing, you will activate God's prophetic promise and alignment in your life, allowing you to stay in tune with the divine cadence of the message. Don't overlook the miraculous. My lovely, my cherished heaven is watching your response. I noticed their actions. I noticed how they talked about you behind your back while seeming to be affectionate in your presence. I saw how they questioned your vocation and tried to convince you that you were just ordinary. Nonetheless, heaven never forgot the truth about your identity. You were picked. You are a beacon of light in a world filled with darkness. And right now, every lie told in your name is about to fall apart in front of you. Your foes will be forced to watch while God arranges a table specifically for you. My adored child. Your name was recently mentioned in the throne room of heaven. Please hear about the suffering you have been carrying and the fights you have fought. You were never meant to be broken by them. Their main goal was to construct you. You are now capable of bearing the burden that God will lay in your hands. However, there is one condition. Please do not leave this message until it is completed. If you leave in the middle of your blessing, it will be unfinished. Please remain with me. Allow each phrase to permeate your spirit like healing oil. My adored child. Do you know that someone has already attempted to impede the delivery of this holy message to you? This message was blocked on 3 different occasions. Delays were implemented on 3 different times, but the angelic realm refused to capitulate. It was critical that you observe this before the end of the evening. This message is intended to prepare you for an event that is expected to take place within the next 12 hours. If you do not take action, the door may close. However, the miracle will occur if you do, my kid, my adored child. 3 nights ago, something happened on your spiritual timeline. Your name was the topic of a choice in paradise. It was not intended that you be informed about it at this time, but God overturned the delay. The notification was sent early due to an unanticipated incident that is reaching you at a higher rate than anticipated. If your heart isn't in the proper place, you can misunderstand it as loss or pain when it's actually the prelude to the most significant favor you've ever gotten. This is why Archangel Michael was sent directly to you, because you were the intended recipient of this knowledge at the moment. My adored child. You are oblivious of the proximity of an event that could have a significant impact on your life. If you could see things the way I do, if you knew how many angels have been struggling to keep your road clear, you would be overtaken with emotion, since the fights that take place behind the scenes are not minor. We are not discussing luck, but destiny. Heaven is currently concerned with waiting for your response. Nothing, no delay, no person, and no fear can stop what is about to happen if your spirit says yes and your soul is open. My adored child. Your spirit has overcome situations that should have rendered you incapable. You have endured through storms with your eyes still full of hope, even when no one saw your quiet tears. I've seen you provide forgiveness to people who have never acknowledged regret. I've witnessed your tremendous love in a world that doesn't understand heavenly love, and heaven is now rewarding you for your devotion. You are being summoned to a domain of greater profundity, depth, and riches. However, the first step is to entirely open your heart to this message, as it will not be attained through comfort, but through trust. Right now, I adore my child. This message will not be repeated again in this manner. It was dispatched at this time due to the urgency of the issue. This particular mix of words may never be heard again because heaven speaks with each season in a unique way. That is why this is so important and why your spirit is responding right now. It is more than just words. It is confirmation, and the sense that erupts inside you is more than just an emotion. It is an awakening. Don't suppress it. My child, do not let your logic interfere with your miracle. Instead, let heaven accomplish the work it started in you. Beloved, I must give you one final directive at this time. Keep an eye out for the number 3. After 3 days, you will receive confirmation that this communication is authentic. It may appear as a dream, a stranger's comments, an unexpected text, or a stunning breakthrough, but it will be unmistakable. You will know it is divine, and you should not hesitate when it appears. Express your heartfelt gratitude by saying your affirmation loudly. Declare that you have received the blessing. This is the trigger for the next phase. This isn't a game. This was not an accident. This is heaven's plan, and you have been chosen to carry it out. Do not be surprised if things begin to shift quickly now, my loving kid. Today you may awaken with the impression of a change in the air around you. This is because the atmosphere responds to celestial movements. Doors that previously refused to open will now call your name, and people who once ignored you will suddenly know you. However, I must give a warning. Not everything that happens at this time will be from God. Some products will arrive creating uncertainty, while others will create a delay. You must ask your soul if this was sent out of love or to test me. Do not lose your discernment. I see your heart, dear my kid. I see that you want to reclaim your faith. However, dread persists and whispers. What if it does not happen? I'd like to instantly alleviate that concern. The miracle depends on your alignment rather than your merit. Furthermore, you are in agreement at this time. Because you listened, not because you did everything properly. You entered and remained. You let your heart be opened. That is what activates the miraculous, and that is what heaven knows, even when you don't fully understand. This infant, my sweetheart, is ready. If only you could see the contents of the book of heaven as they are being composed right now. Your name is being written in a new chapter. The old narrative, which is marked by betrayal, loss, scarcity, and waiting, is coming to an end. Furthermore, the pen is currently in God's possession. The chapter begins with fairness, clarity, and abundance. The injustices committed against you are being corrected. The stillness is being disturbed. In the near future, people will approach you and ask, "How did everything change so quickly?" You will be aware that it all started right here. Currently, my child, my beloved God is not seeking your perfection through this communication. He is requesting your permission. It is unnecessary to address all issues before obtaining the next item. It is not necessary to understand how it will happen. You only need to respond affirmatively. A modest assertion of faith said quietly can move mountains. It facilitates access. It gives orders to spirits. It affects the spiritual timeline. Heaven is presently listening only to this. Therefore, if you feel a stirring in your heart, express it. Respond affirmatively. Pronounce it aloud. My darling, this is your divine consent. Currently, something sacred is hidden in plain sight in your life, my darling. It is a blessing hidden in an ordinary object. A time, a location, and a person. It's conceivable you overlooked it. Nevertheless, your spiritual sensibilities will soon be awakened, and you'll realize it was never insignificant. It was never accidental. It was God wrapped in simplicity. That is how paradise operates. And when you finally admit it, The thankfulness that flows from your heart will serve as a catalyst for even more miracles. Thanksgiving. My child and my lover are always the first priorities. A person who has left your life is now watching you from a distance. They sensed an impending collapse. They expected your spirit to be crushed. However, you persevered. You continued to move forward. You maintained your conviction. And heaven is ready to gift them with exactly what they were attempting to flee from. Avoid becoming distracted by their return. Some persons are not returned for restoration. They are returned to see if you have truly matured. Strive for wisdom. It is not required to accept everything that appears to be reconciled. In the coming days, you will notice the repetition of numbers, names, dreams, and songs in your surroundings, my lover. These are not just coincidences. These are indicators of spirituality. Heaven uses patterns to draw your attention. When you see these indicators, take a moment to ponder, listen, meditate, and record them. Don't dismiss them. Each item contains a concealed instruction or confirmation. The breakthrough will occur when the spiritual realm becomes more audible. Currently, there is an uptick in activity in your area. This suggests that your moment is approaching. My child, my darling has a stronger voice than you may realize. When you speak in accordance with heaven, your words cause shockwaves throughout the invisible realm. Your calm prayers, statements, and affirmations have the potential to change the situation. As a result, exercise caution when expressing your thoughts. Proclaim life and promise. Pray for the safety of your home, wealth, and intellect. Speak faith even when fear threatens to trap you. There were no changes to the original sentence. That is how your miracle is delivered, fully developed and untouched. My child, my dear, you may be unaware of this, but you are the answer to someone's prayer. At the moment, someone is crying out to God for help, guidance, and a sign, and you are being guided to cross their path. That is why it is critical that you ascend. This is why you must remain aligned, because your obedience is not only for your advantage. The importance of your light rests in the lives it will touch. Do not underestimate your presence, and do not retreat. Heaven has dispatched you to deliver light to places that others cannot reach. I am aware of the tension you have been feeling, my beloved. It's been unrelenting and intense. However, the pressure was not intended to diminish you, but rather to uplift you. Diamonds are only produced under pressure. Thus, the gem you have become is visible to heaven right now. You did not break quit or allow bitterness to dominate. As a result, you are willing to accept what others were unwilling to tolerate. The crown is substantial, but it is currently suited for you, and the world will soon see what heaven has already seen. My child, my dear, you may be unaware of this, but you are the answer to someone's prayer. Currently, someone is begging with God for a sign, assistance, or guidance. You are being led to cross their path, therefore you must rise. That is why it is critical that you remain in agreement, because your obedience is not only about you, it is also about the lives your light will touch. Do not underestimate your presence, and do not retreat. Heaven has dispatched you to deliver light to places that others cannot reach. I sense the stress you've been feeling, my child, my dear. It's been unrelenting and intense, but the facts are as follows. The objective of that pressure was not to harm you, but to raise you. Diamonds are only produced under pressure. Thus, the gem you have become is visible to heaven right now. You did not break quit or allow bitterness to dominate. As a result, you are willing to accept what others were unwilling to tolerate. The crown is substantial, but it is currently suited for you, and the world will soon see what heaven has already seen. My kid, my dear, I must advise you that some people have not completely acknowledged your potential. They condemned you based on your quiet history and problems, but they were unconscious of the divine potential that was growing within you. They inspected the dirt but did not notice the seed which has since sprouted. The same lips that conveyed skepticism will now express astonishment as you prepare to grow in ways no one predicted. By doing so, you become a part of Jesus' purpose to save spirits that are stuck in a fog. Jesus says that if you water others, you will be watered too. Every seed evolves into light which combats darkness. This isn't a piece of history. It's a living assurance for your future. Approach this situation with a strategy and faith. Giving can help you realize the potential God has for your life. Please listen carefully, my child, my beloved. Your breakthrough will not emerge as you expected, nor will it come through the same doors you have been pounding on. It will occur in a new direction as a divine interruption. This is how God works when it is urgent, which is why I was dispatched at this moment. Something is approaching you so quickly that your spirit must be alert before it arrives. You do not have time to delay or hesitate. Your affirmative reaction opens a gate that no force of darkness can ever close. My child, my dear, there is a reason why your heart has been racing. It is not concern or bewilderment. It is transformation. You are currently in a spiritual hallway where you have left your previous location but have not yet arrived at your final destination. In this hallway, heaven is altering your path, removing certain items for your safety, and sealing shut doors to keep you from re-entering cycles you have outgrown. Although it may look isolated at first, you will quickly discover that the silence was the sound of heaven preparing your destiny in silence. My child, my adored, you must hear this message clearly. You are not cursed and you are not forgotten. The delay was not suggestive of denial, but rather of preparation. The time has finally come, and each tear you cried has fostered this invisible thing on the verge of becoming visible. Each rejection has redirected you, and each moment of waiting has been working in the background. I'm currently speaking with your spirit, and the divine clock just struck your name. This message is not a coincidence. It is a summons to the next stage of your life, which has never been experienced before. My child, my adored, I urge you to prepare yourself for complete repair, not just healing and closure. What was taken from you emotionally, monetarily, relationally, and spiritually has been accounted for. The divine court has made a good verdict for you, but you must have faith to accept it. God is able to restore what no one else can. You will not receive an apology from everyone who has offended you. Rather, heaven will ensure that you are compensated with peace, joy, and doubled blessings. Your spirit will dance once more, and you will laugh again. The season of grief is coming to an end, my child, my dear. Although you may feel tired, you are not depleted. There is still oil in your lamp, and vitality is growing within you. The exhaustion you are feeling is not indicative of weakness. Yes, the weight of the previous season is breaking off rest, but don't give up. Just when you thought the voyage was ended, God opens up a new road that you've never seen before, bypassing every closed gate you encountered. It is yours not by chance, but because of your alignment and your heart's faithfulness. Heaven recognizes that now, my kid and dear. Some of your prayers were unanswered because the request was too tiny. You were demanding survival when God was preparing for abundance. You also requested the power to endure. He was developing tactics for your expansion. You requested to be observed. He was grooming you to be desirable. This is why the response did not arrive on time. Heaven was not denying you. Rather, it was expressing that you are about to go on a tremendous adventure that you are ignorant of, and every delay and closed door would be explained and proven unimportant. My beloved, I must inform you that the resistance you have met in recent times is not a kind of punishment. Rather, it demonstrates that the enemy is aware of your goals and has recognized your light. The more substantial the blessing, the stronger the distraction, the more specific the destiny, and the greater the strain. However, you are still present and hearing, implying that the enemy has been defeated. Your shield is now stronger, your vision clearer, and your miracle is closer than ever. The catastrophe that was meant to break you has merely increased your consciousness. My child, my dear, do not underestimate the magnitude of your trip. Over the next few weeks, you will experience unexpected changes, messages, and confirmations that you will be unable to ignore. You will hear someone say the identical words from this message aloud, and you will feel the spiritual cold that comes when the truth hits you in the bones. At that point, you will realize that this was not just a video or a sensation, but a heavenly warning and proclamation that the things that have been saved up for you are being unleashed without further delay. My child, my lover, you must take this last section carefully. If you do not respond in faith to this time, the next season will arrive later and at a slower speed. This is because heaven is quickly pursuing those who are aware, say yes, now open their hands without hesitation and align without fear. Do not let this message be simply another item to scroll past. Let it be the time when heaven remembers your name, the angels decorate your home, and you receive what was always meant for you. Do not underestimate the gravity of the circumstances you face, my kid, my dear. In the following weeks, you may encounter abrupt changes, unexpected notifications, and confirmations that you cannot ignore. You will hear someone say the identical words from this message aloud, and you will feel the spiritual cold that comes when the truth hits you in the bones. At that point, you will realize that this was not just a video or a sensation, but a heavenly warning and proclamation that the things that have been saved up for you are being unleashed without further delay. This final piece is really important to my child, my darling. If you do not respond in faith to this time, the next season will still happen, but at a slower speed and with a delay. This is owing to the fact that heaven is pursuing those who are awake, who say, yes, right now, who offer their hands without reservation and align without fear. Do not let this message become just another item on your scroll. Instead, let it be the moment when heaven remembers your name, the angels know your home, and you receive what was always meant for you. My child and dear, your name is encompassed by light in the heavenly realm. Heaven has kept track of every time you came close to giving up. Every time you chose to believe rather than break, the angels took note. Currently, those moments of secret endurance are constructing a route beneath your feet, guiding you into a region of divine visibility. Those who once ignored you will be divinely drawn to you, not because you sought attention, but because your anointing can no longer be hidden. You were never ignored. You were being readied for entrance. As you prepare to enter your glorious future, know that this message does not end with you. This is my child, my darling, and I need to say it now. The majority of your misery was caused by a struggle over your identity. The enemy was more interested in your voice than in your money. He wasn't interested in your personal relationships. He was concerned about your vocation, so he targeted your confidence, clarity, and value. However, this fight has come to an end as you have rediscovered your identity. You are a divine vessel. You cannot be replaced, randomized, or arbitrary. At this moment, heaven is restoring your whole spiritual authority. From this point forward, your gate will change. Sharing this message right now will ignite the anointing and share this breakthrough with your network, spreading God's truth and blessing. This prophetic word is profound and carries the potential for breakthrough. If you are confident that this activation is for you and that you are feeling the power within you, please confirm your agreement by saying Amen in the comments box below. Allow your pronouncement to cement this truth in your spirit and the spiritual realm, my child, my beloved. Something lovely will soon arrive in the mail via SMS or in person. When the knowledge you are currently hearing emerges, it serves as a divine confirmation sign and reminder that it is true. Do not dismiss it as a coincidence. Instead, see it as a sign and express thankfulness for its arrival. This is how you access the next tier. The more you express thankfulness for minor signals, the more heaven comes to trust you with bigger ones. My darling and lover, the future that awaiting you is far bigger than anything your history has ever delivered. This week you will feel a peculiar sensation. One morning you will feel light. That is not a creation of imagination. That is not a coincidence. It is a spiritual outflow. A load you were unknowingly bearing will be lifted, and a chain that has ringed your goals will be severed. This is the result of perfect alignment with the divine. Even when you don't say anything, events are taking place since heaven is watching over your heart's deeds. As your heart opens, the healing process becomes automatic. Not usually physically, but spiritually, my kid beloved or someone you cared for is returning. Their soul is repenting and their intellect is awakened. Regardless of whether you receive the words you desired, the equilibrium will be achieved, since forgiveness does not require both voices. It needs your release. This is how you obtain liberation. Once you are liberated, God will be able to bless you in ways that were before impossible, allowing them to grow and decrease on their own. I am aware that you were not late or missed it. It is now up to heaven to fulfill its duty. It appears that time is slipping away. As if others have passed you by, as if the window has closed. Yet I see what you cannot see, and the window has only just opened. Now is the time, and this is the place. This communication was the critical moment you were unaware you needed. This is why your soul has survived and why you are still reading. A spiritual message is being conveyed, and the delay will be transformed into an acceleration so fast that even your doubts will fail to keep up. I must now address legacy with you, my dear child. Your obedience disrupts patterns, your healing rewrites your lineage story, and your yes alters your children's inheritance. You are being blessed not just for yourself, but also for others who will come after you. This is a larger task than you, which is why it has been more difficult and delayed. However, the reward is now catching up with the sacrifice, and the restoration will be beyond your ability to see. Your lineage has prayed for an interruption, and you are it. My kid, my dear, I implore you to take a courageous action within the next 48 hours. This step of faith, this gesture of preparation is designed to convey to heaven that I am certain that this is for me. Examples include a prayer, a diary entry, a phone call, a choice, a message, a donation, and a silent moment of praise. This transformation is passed down to the next individual who is still anticipating it by engaging in this group and contributing from a more robust self. I am aware of your quiet question, how will I know this is genuine? And I respond with the following: serenity is already covering your chest like a warm blanket, and tears are gushing without your knowledge as your spirit stands alert while your mind adjusts. That is confirmation. The soul always recognizes the voice of its source, and this word is not from man, but from spirit. As a result, it defies logic and goes places no one else can. For this reason, my darling, my dear, you are greatly affected. You are ignorant that you are on the verge of a life-changing event. If you could see things the way I do, if you knew how many angels have been struggling to keep your road clear, you would be overtaken with emotion, since the fights that take place behind the scenes are not minor. This is not a matter of luck. It is a matter of destiny, and heaven is currently awaiting your response. Nothing, no delay, no person, no dread can stop what is about to happen to you, my child, if your spirit says yes and your soul stays open. My dear, your spirit has overcome adversity that should have devastated you. You have endured through storms with your eyes still full of hope, even when no one saw your quiet tears. I've seen you forgive people who have never shown regret, and I've seen you love passionately in a world that doesn't understand heavenly love. Heaven is currently rewarding you for your faithfulness. You are being called to a greater, deeper, and more gratifying experience, but it will not be accomplished through comfort, but rather through trust. The first step is to completely open your heart to this message. Currently, my child beloved, and someone you previously trusted are on the verge of revealing their actual nature. You must be prepared to face the reality which will definitely upset you, but also release you. This is not designed as a punishment. Rather, it is to protect you. Archangel Michael has been tasked with eliminating the myths. God intends that there be no more misinformation about your fate. This is how heaven clears the way when you are finally ready to ascend, my darling. As the atmosphere around you shifts, you will notice individuals leaving, doors closing, and possibilities appearing unexpectedly. Don't underestimate the importance of today, my dear. In the spiritual sphere, your name has been signed by divine decree, and a release is taking place, even if you see it as just another day. Generational patterns are being disturbed. Chains are breaking, and you have chosen to stay with this message because you did not scroll down, and your heart has said, maybe this is for me. It is that simple. It has certainly echoed in the court of heaven within your spirit. Now heaven is answering. Nonetheless, you must stay with me. Please do not stop at this time. My child, my beloved, you are currently on your shift. I am forced to reveal an unusual fact. Divine treasure has been accumulated in your name. However, it has been hidden beneath a spiritual veil since some portions of your soul have yet to repair. God does not just bestow blessings. He ensures that you can transport them without causing any damage once the preparation time is complete. The season of release has begun. This riches is more than just material. It includes health, joy, repaired relationships, and clarity. It is the culmination of your prayers arriving at the exact time for God. My child, my beloved, take close attention. In the next hours, there will be an attempt to divert your focus, such as a phone call, a moment of anxiety, or an unexpected wave of exhaustion. These are not occurrences, but testing. When God is about to communicate directly to you, the enemy makes a lot of noise, but you must hush it. Return to a condition of calm. Re-watch this message. Reread the material and let the words soak into your awareness, much like rain does to dry earth. This is not amusement. It is divine preparation for the next stage of your life, which will require spiritual sensitivity. My child, my beloved, this is the moment you've been unknowingly praying for, that quiet longing you felt when you said, God, if you're real, show me this is the answer. But it's coming in a way you didn't expect, because heaven rarely communicates in the same way as the world. The world exclaims but murmurs. It sends angels in the shape of messages, signals, unusual coincidences, and spontaneous impulses to open something at the right time. You're present, which means you're not late. You're right on time. I was sent only one message for you tonight, my child and beloved. Do not let fear keep you from perceiving what heaven is trying to show you. You have not been forgotten. In fact, your name has become much more prominent in heaven's memory. The angels who were sent to you have never abandoned you, even during your most terrible times. You may have felt secluded, but you were never completely alone. I was present and I stood between you and forces you'll never know about that tried to harm you. Tonight, I was allowed to talk freely because your forthcoming season is too important for you to enter blindly. A chronology has just changed in your life. My kid. My beloved. What you thought would take years may now happen in weeks or even days. This is the outcome of your unification with paradise. You responded affirmatively at this exact instant. You remained. The divine acceleration is triggered by your choice to open your heart despite the fear that drove you to escape. Observe the events that follow. People who have forgotten you will suddenly recollect opportunities that were denied to you, and prayers that were abandoned will be answered unexpectedly, all as a result of your decision to reaffirm your faith at this time. I can hear the urgency in the voice of paradise, my lover and my child. There is a soul who has recently seen a vision of you in their dreams and is drawn to you at the perfect time. This person could be a guide, a partner, a supernatural helper, or someone assigned to convey something sacred to you. However, they are drawn to your light because your soul's call has reached heaven's ears and reverberated in theirs. This is why you must stay linked, never lose hope, and never give up on your own miracle while it is already in the works. My beloved, I invite you to reflect on a vital spiritual truth. You were never rejected. Rather, you were redirected. Those who walked away did not do so on their own. They were gently removed from your path because they were incapable of carrying the bounty God is going to bestow upon you. If they had remained, they would have damaged what is sacred. Although you may have mourned as they left heaven, sighed a sigh of relief, because your table may now be set with the right energy, people, and favor. There is no loss. It is simply a matter of alignment, my darling. Heaven, my beloved, speaks with haste. A soul has lately been shown a vision of you in their dreams. They are being brought to you with divine timing. This person might be a guide, a partner, a heavenly helper, or someone assigned to convey something sacred to you, but they are drawn to your light. Your soul's cry has entered the heavens and resonated within them. Therefore, you must preserve your alignment. Do not despair, my adored child. Do not leave your own miracle while it is already beginning. I'd like you to take a time to reflect on a great spiritual truth. You were never rejected. Rather, you were redirected. Individuals who withdrew from your presence were not acting on their own. They were gently led away from your path owing to their inability to endure the benefit that God is about to shower upon you. If they had stayed, they would have wrecked something sacred. You may have mourned when they departed, but heaven sighed in relief, for your table can now be set with the appropriate people, energy, and favor. My kid, my beloved, this is not a loss. Rather, it is a moment of peace. Don't let your past undermine your dedication. There may be behaviors, words, or ideas for which you still feel guilt, but God will not hold those against you. Forgiveness is flooding into your soul right now like warm light, and heaven runs on the basis of redemption rather than shame. The stress and weight are being taken off your shoulders. You do not need to earn this blessing. It has already been authorized. My child, my beloved, your reaction to this heavenly invitation is critical at this moment. I must speak urgently. An evil entity has been watching you and has attempted to pass your name down through generations, planting seeds of dread, uncertainty, poverty, and rejection. However, this trend has been interrupted as of today. Your spirit is shielded by a holy wall. Your surroundings are being purified, and any assignments directed at you are being returned to their origin. This is why you've just noticed a shift in your mood. Your spirit is no longer allowing what was formerly a silent presence in your life to continue. My dear heaven is regaining your territory, kid. I am aware of how long you have been waiting, and I am aware of how many times you have muttered, maybe next month, or maybe next year. while inwardly doubting that the situation will ever improve. What if I told you that this is the end of the suspense? Not because you tried to force it, but because your heart has finally come to accept it. Right now, your soul is open. Your eyes are looking, and heaven is responding to your preparedness rather than your perfection, my child and darling. There are some things that only appear when the soul is still enough to hear. Your name is about to be called in a room where you are not present. It will be an uninvited talk, but your fate will be addressed there. That is the result of heavenly favor. It engraves your name in places you have yet to visit. Do not underestimate the significance of your obedience. The simple decision to stick with this message, pay attention, and open your spirit to it has spiritual consequences. Heaven will now say, "Go to my child, my darling," in response to your heart's affirmation. I'd like you to be prepared. Something will be removed from your life not to harm you, but to create way for what is to come. It could be a habit, a person, a profession, a belief, or even a hidden fear. Do not worry when it happens and do not try to keep it. Breaking something does not always mean the end. Sometimes it marks the beginning of something sacred. The hands of God are removing what is not appropriate for the forthcoming season because what is to come is sacred, and not everything is permitted in holy places, my child, my beloved. I'm going to make an ambitious statement. You have more power than you realize. You have spiritual authority that you have yet to exercise. The world has tried to repress it through guilt, rejection, and fear. Your gifts, including prophetic insight, healing energy, and knowledge beyond your years, are hidden within you. That is now complete. As you open your spirit to this divine truth, those gifts will begin to manifest. This is not a fantasy. It is the blossoming of heaven, my child, my beloved. Your words will carry weight. Your dreams will hold messages, and you will be able to perceive events before they occur. A storm is going. I understand that it has been. Jesus is currently grieving and trying to reach you. This communication is intended only for you. You risk losing him for good if you ignore even a single second. The events that follow in the next 30 minutes will be completely unexpected. My child, my dear, before I say anything else, you must understand that heaven is extremely grieved by the fact that you were so near to relinquishing everything that was meant for your soul. Please open it immediately. Jesus is currently weeping. His voice has been echoing your name over the skies all day. However, an obstacle has kept the sound from reaching you. Archangel Michael was instructed to intervene. I was instructed to reach your heart with my final appeal since the events that will unfold in the next 30 minutes have never been mentioned. You are not experiencing a mere coincidence. Heaven engineered this precious interruption to ensure that you would eventually get wisdom that no other person has ever had the opportunity to acquire. My child shouldn't be delayed. Failure to comply with this condition will result in the fate that was predetermined for you centuries ago. Heaven speaks softly at times, yet shouts out in deep pain at others. At the present, it is the case. Jesus has been attempting to connect with you, but each time you ignored him, a sacred event was postponed. However, your name is once again being circulated in the heavenly tribunals today. This time, the subject is more than just a message. It refers to a divine reversal. A tragedy began without your knowing. However, this message is critical to its prevention. This is why Jesus is reaching out to you with tears. He is not only attempting to retain your devotion, he is attempting to save your life. He then implores you not to dismiss the information that follows. My beloved child, there is something you must quickly understand. At daybreak, a commotion could be heard in the heavens. It wasn't music. It did not constitute praise. It was the sound of Jesus grieving over you. A sudden sound startled the gates. A sound that caused the other angels to turn their heads and wonder why he was crying, and the response was you. He witnessed the near miss that you experienced last night. He noticed the writing in the shadows, which was done by a hand that was not God's. He was also aware that if you did not read this warning, the darkness would still rule. However, heaven is using these words to intercede.